or our super chats. YouTube has this little feature where if you hit a certain number of views, a certain amount of content, a little button called the super chat opens up, where you guys can give a little bit of money, and we will immediately pay attention to your super chat questions. That's how the Meta Lab runs it. For this, you'll be kind of queued up with the other patron questions, but it's kind of like that patron for a show idea that goes, directly to us on the channel and whatnot. So, what we're doing this week, as always, is we open up our hearts and souls and liquor imbibed brains to our patrons, those of us who are lovely enough to open up their wallets to us, and they get us answering any other questions that they feel like asking us. And it's a no holds barred, anything goes kind of questionnaire. We've answered silly, but a lot of time it tends to just base itself around here at Clix, because that's the opinion you guys want. Though it's not really the opinion I have lately. Let me tell you. Oh boy, have I been busy at work. That said, we do this once a month, usually the first Friday of the month. Otherwise, we try to reschedule as best we can. And this is any questions that we answer here are only from our patrons or our super chat providers today. So if you happen to be in the chat watching live, throw us a couple cents, 50 cents higher, whatever, and you're just a patron for the episode. And we appreciate the support. But this is for those who support us directly. That's kind of how we reserve this time slot. Are we ready? Because we got at least one question for the Patron Hangout. We do tend to chit-chat a lot to keep the show going, because lately a lot of the patrons haven't been able to make the show. We might have to try to reschedule it. So this works best for our schedule. That's kind of the problem we've been running into right now. But while we get some questions loading up in the patrons, guys, we're not going to ignore you. We're just going to kind of share our weeks or days or months with each other. Amber, you haven't been on the channel for much, so how about you give us a bit of an update?
I'm not doing a whole lot of anything, except losing my hair, apparently.
And editing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, editing. Actually, I did get out to you guys in general have a Metafix that released today. The patrons have a casual corner that will be released tomorrow. On
Free Comic Book Day.
And then there is also Dial It Ups coming.
Whoa!
I know, I filmed those yesterday.
You know the rules of this game again?
No. No, actually, the 2 episodes of Dial It Up that I did were actually in regards to the rules change that happened in the last watch list and the 2018 rules update. So, kind of just going over what happened there.
Okay, what there was a watch list?
The Q4 watch list. The one that happened last year that I haven't actually done anything about. The only rule the big rule that changed. No, it's not the figures. It's the rules change that they made to standard powers.
I don't remember this.
When you have a standard defense power or a standard damage power, it doesn't
gotcha.
matter if
okay,
it's
yeah, it doesn't matter where it is. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I remember what you're talking about.
I did a whole episode on that.
I know how to play this game, I swear, Amber. I just, I'm so far behind on the news. There's so much that's happened.
No, honestly,
and we're getting bombarded with Avengers Infinity stuff. We have our pre-release tomorrow on Free Comic Book Day in a comic book store, Amber.
We're also getting a brick to unbox for you guys.
Middle of the week. A little late, but it looks like WizKids was kind of in a bit of a reorganization state. And who we deal with was not the people we were emailing, but somewhere down the line we didn't get that, so we know now. Awesome. And we're looking forward to dealing with WizKids in the future. By the way, guys, if you guys are watching over at WizKids, TMNT, don't mess with that. Do not mess with that.
Really don't want that one.
Do not mess with my Ninja Turtles. All right. Without further ado, we're going to start with some of the questions we have in the Discord. Those of you who've watched the show before, you know how this is going to go.
Yeah.
They're going to ask some questions. I've got hats in the way that is really screwing up our lighting. They're going to ask questions, and I'm going to answer them no matter how long they think it's going to be. I'm dismantling the shelf so that the lighting works, Amber. I will definitely over-answer the heck out of your questions. So it's one of those things that helps keep the longevity of the show. It also allows patrons to hang out with us a little bit longer and get a little bit more value for their dollar out of their questions. But the first question for this week's Patron Hangout, or this month's Patron Hangout, comes from Drew Warren. And he wants to know what is your favorite video game that is based on a comic book character? Or sorry. Do you want to answer this one first? Because I've got a lengthy one.
Sure.
Because mine's a love letter.
Actually, and this one, oh my god. Direct answer is the X-Men Legends games. Now this is actually just a style of game, this whole Gauntlet Diablo type style game. I don't know if it's like how we have the Castlevania games. I don't know if there's
Metroidvania style.
I don't know if there's actually a style. For me it was Gauntlet Diablo style of game.
X-Men Legends 2, Ultimate Alliance 2, and there's one more, right? No, there's that Marvel Superheroes one, but I don't think you really like that.
Oh, it was
the free to play. Free to play.
Yeah. So, anyways, that style of game, I like that style of game to begin with, and then they slapped a comic book theme on top of it, and they actually had a really good story for X-Men Legends 1 and 2. Ultimate Alliance were good too, but it was more like it was the Avengers side of it, where at the time that those came out, I didn't really know too much about Avengers.
Apparently the stream glitched. Amber said X-Men Legend style of games, Nathaniel. Carry on.
Oh, yes. So actually, very specifically, X-Men Legends 1 and 2. They're getting clumped together because it was a series, basically. Now, it did carry on this style in with Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2. But as I was saying, those are more focused on the Avengers characters. You do get some X-Men in there, but it's more focused on Avengers and the Avengers storyline, which at the time that these games came out, I wasn't reading any Avengers comic books. I was almost solely an X-Men fan. So I gravitated more towards the X-Men Legends than the Ultimate Alliance, even though Ultimate Alliance built upon and improved on the gameplay of that style of game. And the one thing that I did find in playing X-Men Legends, where I was really invested in the characters and their powers and all their different tech trees and how you could build them to basically be the version of that character that you wanted. And you also got bonuses based on the 4 players. So like if you had all 4 Fantastic Four, you got a bonus. And if you had all of the Age of Apocalypse skins, guys, you got a bonus. So like it's like getting a theme team bonus in HeroClix. So they rewarded you for putting certain teams together. And then when they brought that over to, I found with Ultimate Alliance, I didn't really care about the powers or the stats as much anymore. There was an auto level up, and pretty much I had like one character that I would play, and then the rest of my team, I just auto leveled up everyone because I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. So I was definitely a lot more invested in the Legends games. That's my answer.
I can take you back in time.
Oh gosh.
A time of wonder. A time for a game developer named Treyarch. Treyarch! Now, those of you who know,
I was gonna say,
there was a time.
I only know Treyarch from Call of Duty.
And that's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Treyarch used to make really great games. One game in particular, now it's not specifically a comic book game, but it is starring a comic book character. It is a movie game, and it is Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
The best comic book adaptation video game ever. It has got... And here's the thing, I'm not a big Spider-Man fan, but I understand the character of Spider-Man. I understand what he's all about to a certain degree. I'm not a comic book fan, but I'm cool with him sort of deal. And I've never seen a game in that era specifically manage to encapsulate everything about Spider-Man so perfectly. They got a spider sense with his dodging reflexes and stuff like that. The web slinging was the most perfect web slinging in a Spider-Man game ever created. It was magnificent. It was a wonderful game. It was the game that gave Arkham Asylum its combat system. Yeah, Arkham Asylum. Oh, that jump to Spider-Man or Batman thing. That was a Spider-Man game thing once. Don't you forget it. Spider-Man was jumping to people, kicking them in the face, and doing whatever he does in Spider-Man 2. It was a masterpiece, and it got to the point. It was the first game I ever 100%ed. Not only was it the first game I ever 100%ed, it was the first game I 100%ed and then kept playing for the sole fact of just web slinging through the city to see how easily or how cool of a fall I can get, because the game maintained a stat list, all the cool things that you've done in this game, which is really cool, what a lot of open world games manage to do. But this one had one was like longest fall distance, and I was searching the game to see how high I could get and how low I could get from that height. I've never had a game just make me go so high, reach for so much, and just feel like Spider-Man. It felt like Spider-Man. I mean, eventually it got a little like, oh my God, everybody needs help and whatnot. That's the minorest of flaws. Is by far the most perfect representation of a Spider-Man video game ever. And I'm really looking forward to the PS4 Spider-Man, because I've heard one hands-on review that said, hey, the web slinging mechanics are just like Spider-Man 2, but better. And I'm like, impossible, but let's see. Because it's my next most anticipated game, as I have got Dad of War, Kratos, God of War. I'm actually, according to my friends at work, almost finished it, but that's none of their business. I am going to keep playing it because, oh my gosh, what a great game that's been. But Spider-Man 2, best game starring comic book character I think ever created. You could argue that if you want, but you'd be wrong. No, but seriously, it was a really good game. Oh, all right. Nathaniel leads in with a May the 4th be with you. I thought you were a Trekkie. You're betraying yourself. He wants to know, Han Solo Clix, running shot or shape change? Perplex outwit? Come on, Han Solo, man. Amber, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't
remember the question.
No, I think I
spiked it.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of what would be a good equivalent to like a quick draw. Because like running shot is like running and gunning. And like shape change is more of like a hey, I'm gonna talk you out of, attacking me. But I want something to represent that whole like Han shoots first quick draw thing.
You didn't shoot first until the remaster. So the rookie version wouldn't have it, but the experienced version would. What's the high noon trade? It's like something like that.
Yeah, I guess so. That would be more.
Except you can't shoot first for high noon. Can you? I don't remember. I don't even know how the high noon works. But it'll probably be something along those lines.
Yeah.
Well, man, we plowed through that one pretty quick. Well, I mean, it was a very long question. So while we wait for more questions to come in and more patrons to come in, Amber, what do you think about Infinity? For tomorrow, we got a pre-release. What are you excited to get?
I want it all. I don't know, like I want Giant Girl, and I want Hulk, and I want Ego, and I want the flying cars, and it's funny because like I don't care about the rest of the stuff in the set. Like I want all the Colossals. Like that's what's really been drawing me into the set. Is the Colossals look really awesome and their characters. Because the problem with, and I was like, as I was saying with the Ultimate Alliance games, is I'm not a very big Avengers person. Like I was huge on Xavier's School because it did a lot of unclicked characters of comics that I actually read. And I knew like almost every one of the characters in that set. Whereas I'm going into Avengers and it's like, okay, well, I kind of know like some of the more obscure Avengers, but not really. So like I have no investment in the characters. And because I'm not really being able to get out all that often to play, like my appeal to characters is actually the character themselves. Be like, hey, I really like the lawyer She-Hulk because that's awesome. But I don't know. Cosmic Tigra looks pretty cool.
The chases definitely look pretty neato. I'm still divided as to whether or not I say they're good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where do I stand as far as the set? It looks really cool. It does give us a set to build around as far as building teams are for. I mean, obviously, I've got to go that competitive, like good cop, bad cop kind of thing. And this set is really appealing in the sense that I get a lot of really big hitters, along with I was caught off with how very few Colossal Retaliators we got out of the set.
Yes.
I think we maybe got 2.
Bro, I only saw 1.
3, sorry. There's 3 because of Giant Girl.
Okay.
And there's Giant Girl, Groot, and what's the other one? Not the Stranger, the Stranger with black hair.
Oh, right. Okay. I know the character you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy. Those are the 3 that I'm aware of. I'm not sure if the starter set Giant Girl is a Colossal Retaliator as well. I'd have to look into that myself. Oh, sorry, 4. Giganto and Namor. It's a Colossal Retaliation one as well. Although, dude, that is the coolest looking model I've ever seen.
Yes, I want that just because,
Big Whale
oh my
and
gosh.
Namor. That is so awesome.
Come on, camera. There we go.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at is new stuff to tool around with, see what we can work around, see what we can work with for the competitive area.
Which is actually rather important considering that we are coming up on Canadian Nationals soon.
Yeah, and I'm fully focused on constructed because I don't have to do any work.
Mm-hmm.
I got my qualifications via WKOs earlier this year, or was it this year or last? It would have been end of last year. Yeah, it was just before the holidays. So I'm in pretty good shape going into Canadian Nationals. I just have to focus on building a team, which means I can sit in the hotel room and sleep and relax.
And do a battle royale maybe sometime in the afternoon.
Yeah, maybe at some point. Those battle royales are still gonna be so cool. Oh my gosh, they're gonna be so cool. Just seeing them. Just one guy's gonna get like this is what I want to see. I want to see the Colossal in a pack get passed to the next guy. And it's just like, yes. And then not only did the next guy, that guy pass on his own Colossal, he passed on the next Colossal. And this guy's gonna be like, you guys are kidding me, right?
That sounds like a battle royale that would happen in Canada too.
Yeah. So it's really cool. I'm super looking forward to it. Yeah.
I apologize. You guys caught me right out of the shower.
Well, you knew what you did. You worked out beforehand, and then you were like, "Do I have time to shower?" Well, you have time to get yourself a little wet and clean yourself off slightly. Just
I thought I'd have time to brush my hair.
No. All right, Nathaniel does throw another question on the Patreon Discord. If you want to check that out, you got to join us at patreon.com/BraveWithClix. All right. Okay. So we got a question from one of his players, and you're a judge, so maybe you'll know. What is a better super rare chase? What is a better super rare? Chase Prime. Wait. What's better? A super rare chase, a Chase Prime, a super rare chase, or a convention exclusive super rare chase? What
are those words?
Like it looks like you just copy pasted super rare in front of the word chase and then just threw words. But what's better, a super rare chase prime, a chase prime, a super rare chase, or a convention exclusive super rare? Did you just want me to say that out loud, Nathaniel? Are you trolling me now? Are you actually trolling us now? My show? Are you trolling? You're paying to troll.
Flat out trolling.
What? I don't know. I don't think that's from one of his players. That was a lot of the words rare chase and all that sounded made up.
Everything you're doing is bad. I want you to know this.
Throw a little Ghostbuster. It looks like he's trying to correct himself or clean himself up, or
he's just like, I'm trolling you.
Honest to God, it's a question I got.
How new is your player?
Right?
Those weren't words.
Okay. New player lesson number 1. Rarity doesn't matter yet. You're too new. Rule number 2, you will not make money playing this game, so stop. You might, if you decide, get a chase or a super rare prime that is selling for a lot of money and sell that, but you'll maybe break even on a brick, get to keep the rest of the brick and move on with your life. But honest to God, don't come into this game with finance in your brain. Jeez Louise, that's dangerous play. That's magic. That's a Magic player's problem, man, or a Yu-Gi-Oh player's problem, or a Pokemon player's problem. Like, there's finance on that side of things. There's no finance to be found. I think did I go over this last week? There's like no money in HeroClix. Stop trying to make money on HeroClix.
That actually kind of reminds me of when you were sorting the cards after the pre-release 2 weeks ago, and you were looking at Karn, and I was like, "Oh, I pulled one of those." You're
Yeah,
like, wait, what?
And I was like, what? All right. Why are they calling the figures from the new set like 7B, 14B? Why are they calling those primes when they have silver ring on their base? Okay. Well, they wanted to do that because there's a theme to the primes this time around. So instead of making them primes, they made them unique. So you can't have 2 of the same copy on it, but they want them to be all on the same team. And you're a judge, so maybe you know what's better: a super rare chase prime, a chase. Yeah. Okay. All right. So he's actually got a screenshot of the questions. So to address the first question. They're uniques this time around because they don't want to repeat of the Squadron Supreme fiasco, which was, let's make a series of primes that are also Squadron Supreme characters. And then once they're all out, eventually realize people want to make theme teams with the Squadron Supreme, so maybe we should let you use the primes together. Eh, guys?
Now, this isn't to say that they're actually going to get rid of primes. They just really wanted these guys to work together.
They're the Space Knights.
As a team. Yeah, they are the Space Knights.
They are the Space Knights!
And, but they worked into the slot of the primes. So they're like, we'll still have it at that rarity, so it's still going to come up as often as a prime would, but we want them to be able to play together. They actually, I believe they released, they did a press release on that.
Mm-hmm.
They did an article saying that this was what was going to happen and why they decided to make these characters the way they did.
Yeah, sometimes design does they do learn from their mistakes. And I do applaud them when they do things like this. Like, they wanted a bunch of primes that were very similar. And then when you get a bunch of primes that are very similar, you can't play them all together because you can only ever have one prime on your team. So now we're going to have a unique common, a unique uncommon, a unique rare, and a unique super rare.
I'm hoping that this means we're going towards possibly, at some point, maybe my pipe dream of having exiles in the game, because the last 4 times we had exiles, 3 of them were primes.
There goes our monetization. So Amber's going to go deal with that phone call in another room, and then she's going to go turn off her notifications on her phone. At Free Comic Book Day, she's got to talk to her parents about organizing things. So, but yeah, Amber had been really hyped for the exiles, but then they made a bunch of prime exiles. So I think it was 2 prime exiles, if I remember correctly. There was Power Princess, and then there was the White Sasquatch from the first Deadpool set. Those are the ones. No, that was the first Iron Man set. Sorry, or Invincible Iron Man. Yeah. So you had 2 primes that didn't really work out so well, and then I think there was a couple other exiles oh my gosh, I don't even remember his name now. Superman-like guy. Help me out. Somebody bail me out. Hyperion Prime. There it is. Hyperion Prime. So I'm hoping they want to avoid that. Maybe we will get exiles as characters just in their set, separate of this in a modern version, because one thing you'll note is that WizKids, in a competitive and supporting sense, only really focuses on the modern age game. What that means is they kind of put on the blinders as to what's been made for things in the past. So that's why very frequently we're going to get a bunch of Thors and Iron Man and Captain America. In addition to the fact that they're Avengers and Marvel says, make us Avengers, they're going to need to put into rotation newer versions of those samey characters. And the exiles will be due for some kind of version of that. I apologize if I'm just like all over the place as far as trying to remember things lately. I've been very busy at work. So, um, Nathaniel asks, so if Amber is Rebel Alliance, is Jason Empire? Well, I am wearing a Kylo Ren shirt right now. This is the closest to a Star Wars shirt I own, and I got this by accident. Amber does have a Rebel Alliance tattoo on her back, and I am the dark side. I mean, I'm the dark side of all things. I am competitive, and everybody hates the competitive player, right? Oh man, so yeah, I guess I'd be Empire, though. I mean, I'm not as big a Star Wars fan as Amber is. I enjoy the Star Wars movies as a set of movies. I don't live and die by them necessarily. And I do think there's a lot of evil stuff that's very cool. Darth Vader is no Doctor Doom, but he's neato. And there's a death battle that proves that he's better anyway. They did the math. What they did. Yeah. So that's the thing. For those of you just joining us live, if you're asking questions in the chat, we won't directly answer them. Unless you're a patron, and then you should be using Patron Hangout, Patron Discord, or if you're throwing in a super chat, which is a chat, the little dollar sign at the bottom, put a dollar or two or whatever into your chat, and then boom, we answer your questions if you happen to do that. But this is kind of for our patrons sort of thing. So I noticed a couple questions in the chat. Just wanted to let you guys know that's how we run this show. So Amber is still apparently on the phone. So if you guys on Discord have any more questions, carry on that. I don't know what else I've been so crazy at work. I only just read the Avengers Infinity spoilers. I kind of one of the Jersey players, Ted, had messaged me. He's like, so what do you think of the set? And I was kind of looking at it about 12 and a half seconds after he asked me that, because I was like, I hadn't even looked at it yet. Give me a minute. So overall, I'm kind of catching up a little. I still have to put some more work into what I am going to play at Canadian Nationals. It is going to be in July, mid-July. So I have to come up with my team. I have to do my research. I have to get my numbers all together. And I believe this is the last set that comes out before then. Might be wrong, but I think Batman Animated is at the end, or is it August? So it's not my concern just yet, and I'm going to be focusing on building with this set and possibly the new Ninja Turtle set, depending what that might yield. So we're still on that. Nathaniel asks, what are you excited for on Free Comic Book Day? Just going. I love going to our local comics shop because, one, it's a walk away. It's a very, very short walk to our comic book shop, which is a delightful way to enjoy a comic book shop. As well, we get to, just soak it all in. I honestly haven't even looked at what the titles are for Comic Book Day. I usually just kind of throw a bunch of titles in my arm and make do with whatever I get. Grab a copy of each thing. I'm a little bit more picky. It's one of those things, I could grab one of everything. I just choose not to. I always grab the ones that are cool. Like sometimes a really neat bound one or a hardcover one just comes out of nowhere. I'll grab one of those. Those are always neat. Those always turn out to have some neat content. And that's we're just a hot mess right now as phones are ringing and alarms are going off on today's show. So I don't know how we always manage to do this. But yeah, for Free Comic Book Day, I don't think our local store usually gets the Hero Click in. If they do, I'll be excited to grab that hammer wielding Hulk. If not, them's the breaks. I will be going to another store to be playing in my pre-release later on in the day, so that may yield something more in the Hero Click side for me. We'll see. So that all remains to be seen for the future. Overall, it's such a fun experience to watch so many people go to the comic store for the first time in a long time in some cases. So, apparently Nathaniel's shop the line started at 3:00 on a Thursday. Look, I love my comic shop, but come on. we might get there a little before 10. That might be our goal. We're not gonna. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy the spectacle of it all, but man, that must be one heck of a, like, your store must tie it on for Free Comic Book Day if that is the case. Hey, Jay has also reminded us that Turtles is the 4th of June, but it was also supposed to be in March at one point. So I won't hold my breath, to say the least. What are you excited for Free Comic Book Day, Amber? Have you looked at the titles or?
Yes. There is an Invader Zim comic, and there is a Riverdale comic, and I think there's a new DC Superhero Girls comic, and
You're apparently married to a 6-year-old woman. A 6-year-old woman?
6-year-old.
Not 60.
What, dude? Well, that's that I know of. There's always times that I go in and be like, oh, I want this.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Yeah, I was just saying, there's always one that's really cool, bound, like hardcover type book that I always grab one of those. That kind of stuff. The neato
One year
stuff.
we got an Attack on Titan manga. I still have to read that. It's in my closet.
But we wanted to avoid spoilers.
Right.
Because the actual comic of Attack on Titan is so far ahead of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Amber does like TV comics.
It's true. I just realized that the 3 things I listed off were based off of TV shows.
I'm watching. I'd say there's one comic I read because I used to watch a TV show. 2 comics I read because I used to watch a TV show, and that would be Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters. Because Ghostbusters I was initially introduced by the cartoon, and then my dad was wonderful enough to warp my fragile little 7-year-old mind with that movie, and then he warped my fragile little mind, and then Ghostbusters, and TMNT. Yes, I was introduced by the TV show, and then eventually found the comics. But the comics were so much better. I kind of just got lost away from the TV show because I didn't care anymore. I just had the comic was so bad.
I feel like anybody our age was introduced to Ninja Turtles through the TV show.
I'm at that age where it could have been either or. But at the same time, I was at the age that could be either or, and a couple of kids would have been like given the comic book, not realizing the content, like Heavy Metal, the comic.
Right.
It's like, yeah, it's cool. Metal
or
woman
that
on a
fairy
whatever.
tale one that we accidentally got Danny last year.
Or the Image Comics one
Yeah.
with the little girl axing people in the head. That was insanity. Oy, oy.
But it was brightly colored little girl on the front.
Whatever. I just didn't want the fight anymore. And I was like, you know what? Just have it. You don't understand it yet. Cool. And Nathaniel also goes on to say he enjoys the the Next Generation Mirror Universe comic. It was a lot of words, and I heard that was a thing, but I don't actively go after a whole lot of things, to be brutally honest. I'm a little sad that Legacy ruined so many of my comics. Is it Legacy? Is that what it was called?
Yes.
Yeah. Because it created a bunch of my comics, and then all of a sudden they're gone now.
Yeah.
Like Luke Cage, Jessica Jones. The She-Hulk was kind of iffy. I was reading She-Hulk because it was the Hulk, and because there's some kind of transference issue. I don't know. It was nonsense either way. And Iron Fist I was reading. What was the other one I was reading? I was reading the infamous Iron Man.
Yeah.
Infamous Iron Man's going away, getting replaced with, I guess, I don't know. I have to read issue number 600 of Invincible Iron Man to figure out where all that is going. I started reading the Amadeus Cho Hulk, but I'm only going to read that till about the end of World War Hulk 2 because I just don't care about the character, to be brutally honest. And this retread of really cool series just isn't working for me. But, the IDW stuff has been really impressing me lately, especially when you consider that the Ghostbusters Ninja Turtles in the IDW universe, the Ghostbusters Ninja Turtles crossover is canon. Mm-hmm. So I like every so often they reference it especially in the Crossing Over series, which is the one I've started reading, the Ghostbusters Crossing Over. They also cover a neat little thing that gets missed in the shorthand of the movie is that in the movie, Peter Venkman mentions that he's not only a parapsychologist, but he's also a psychologist. And you kind of get the impression that the parapsychology was the bird course to finish up his degrees, and he ends up with these parapsychologists anyway. But in issues of the comic book, at one point he gets possessed, but then he outsmarts the ghost who's possessing him while he's being possessed, and he just outbrains and outtalks him out of himself. It's actually a really clever way of handling it. And that it adds a little bit more depth to the characters, I think. And they also cover Winston's past in the Marines a little bit more frequently, because it's another thing. So Winston was an ex-Marine. In the original story writings, like Dan Aykroyd's version, like there's so many things Dan Aykroyd and Ivan Reitman had come up with beforehand that just didn't make it into the movie. Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd, and then Ivan Reitman's like, no, guys, we're making a movie. Let's make a movie here, guys. No, Winston's past doesn't matter. But he's a Marine. Whatever. What's he gonna do? Like snap a ghost's neck?
Awesome.
Right? Certain degrees of that, it doesn't make sense to need. But then when you got something in an extended universe like a comic book or a TV show, you can dwell on those things, go back to those things, revisit those things, have those things be part of the story, and it goes a long way towards storytelling, right? So, like as an example, Winston as a Marine. In the movie, we don't have time for that story necessarily because they're talking. The movies deal with big picture stuff. But say a TV show or a comic, they can say, "Oh my gosh, these ghosts are his ex squad mates or his ex unit, like the former regiment." It's like all of a sudden they're all dead. Winston's the only one alive, and he's got to ghost bust them. Like there's a story. I don't know if I haven't read all the books yet. If that's a story, I apologize if I spoiled that. Who knows? But when you extend something, sometimes you get a little bit more life out of it, and you can go a little deeper into things and make them more interesting in that matter. The Crossing Over series, I'm a little still kind of half in on, because I like the idea of all Ghostbusters existing in their idea of a universe, and then crossing them over, kind of neato. But then, can you keep it interesting? Is really the challenge, right? Because you have to maintain these stories, and then are you just throwing characters on the page to fan service people, right? So that's what I'm nervous about on that one. Anyway, now that I've dwelled a whole bunch on the comics that I read, you wanted to add to the topic there, Amber?
What was the topic? Like, I walked in on this.
Well, you said you like TV comics, and I started talking about my Ninja Turtles.
Oh, okay. It just happened to be that those were the ones that I saw advertised for Free Comic Book Day. What I am actually currently reading, what I'm picking up, I collected all of the Phoenix Resurrection and the Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy meet Betty and Veronica, which is fantastic.
I think all the Archie crossovers are the most underrated books ever created.
They're so great. It's absolutely fantastic because they go to like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are basically running away from mobsters in Gotham, and they end up in Riverdale because Mr. Lodge is turning a natural swamp into a mall, and Poison Ivy wants to stop this. So she tries to find a way to convince him not to put the mall there, and she shows up as like herself, like Dr. Pamela Isley, and that doesn't go over. So she figures that the best way to get to Mr. Lodge is through Veronica, and they show up at like this costume party that Veronica's holding, and Zatanna is there, and Sabrina is there, and through like a magic spell that they both kind of screw up, they end up switching Betty and Veronica and Harley and Ivy their bodies. So then, like the rest of the storyline is like dealing with the fact that they've been body swapped and they're trying to get back to their original bodies, while still also saving the swamp from being turned into a mall. Like it's a really fun, just campy story, and it's fantastic.
Oh, they went the Freaky Friday route on that one.
Yeah.
I feel like they put more effort into the Punisher Archie crossover, to be brutally honest. I mean, that one, the brilliance of it is wonderful. It starts with Punisher chasing somebody down, and you find out that this guy he's chasing down, this, I guess, gangster or murderer, happens to look like Archie. So eventually he finds his way to Riverdale and finds out that this guy is in Riverdale, and just chaos ensues as, you know, Frank Castle starts masquerading as the gym teacher, and he's chaperoning the dance and is in a Kevlar suit. It's
so great.
Thing of wonder.
It's so great.
They put so much effort into like explaining everything in this story.
Well, the other thing from Archie that I'm reading right now, which is just fantastic, is Jughead the Hunger. And it's part of their Archie Madhouse universe, where it's like a horror take on the Archie comics. And they started with this a couple years back with the Afterlife with Archie, at around the same time that Life with Archie was a running comic. There was Afterlife with Archie, where the zombie apocalypse had broken out in Riverdale. So this is in the same, not same canon, but like it's done by the same like sub publisher called Archie Madhouse, and they do Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and she deals with actual like demonic possession, and I think it's the Chilling Tales of Sabrina. The one I'm reading is Jughead the Hunger, and it turns out that Jughead is from a long line of werewolves, and he discovers that he is a werewolf, and he like slaughters people. Like he's killed Miss Grundy, and he kills the principal, and it turns out that he turned Reggie into a werewolf without knowing it. So he's run away from Riverdale. Meanwhile, there's a side plot where Reggie's found out that he's a werewolf, and he's been turning all of his friends. So now Riverdale is being overrun by a gang of teenage werewolves. Meanwhile, Jughead's on the loose because he's a wanted murderer for all of the people that he killed. And it turns out that while Jughead has a long line of werewolves, Betty is from a long line of werewolf hunters. So Betty and Archie are now trying to track down werewolf Jughead to try and kill him and all of his other werewolf buddies. Well, you meet all the rest of Betty's family, who are like a long line of werewolf hunter. And it's just fun to. I've always gravitated toward these like what if alternate universe stories of like you take your base characters but then you do whatever you want with them to just kind of mess with it. It's why I ended up reading all of Secret Wars and Battle World, because it's just like, hey, we all know these characters, let's put them in crazy situations. It's why I loved Exiles. It's why I used to I'm pretty sure a lot of this comes from watching like Quantum Leap and Sliders as a kid. Kind of just messed with my head.
Quantum Leap, eh?
Yep. Quantum Leap and Sliders.
Oh, here's an interesting one. Amber, would you want Archie Clix?
I was thinking about this the other day, and like, okay, because there is a like not well-known animated series that they did called Archie's Weird Mysteries. And it was around the time that Tales from the Crypt Keeper was popular with kids my age. And I think it only had like a season or two at most. And it was called Archie's Weird Mysteries. And it was basically like Archie meets Scooby-Doo, but like everything that they found was real. So like all of the paranormal stuff that happened, all of the weird stuff that happened was actually real and happening. And Archie and his friends were like this mystery club that went and solved the weird things that were happening in Riverdale. So that would actually be cool to put them in like a Horror Clix type Hero Clix style, where you've had the Archie's Weird Mysteries version of them, and then you can have like the Jughead the Hunger, and Afterlife with Archie for the zombies, and Chilling Tales of Sabrina for the demons. And I don't know if they're going to continue on with it. I have issue 1, but there's a series that they started called Vampironica, and it's along the same line as Jughead the Hunger, but Veronica's been turned into a vampire. So I think it would basically be like like the Undead set, but slap the Archie theme on top of it and expand it into like more genres. So absolutely, that would be an awesome thing to do. Let's have Archie Clix.
No.
I'd be the only one to buy it, but I don't care.
I'd be the one to buy it. No, you know what? When it comes down to it, if it's got a dial, it's got numbers on it. I'll pick it. I'll have fun with it. Honestly, I'm not picky anymore about what they make in HeroClix. I get excited about some things. I'm not going to groan about the making of the things. Let people have fun, guys. You know what I mean? I've heard this. Oh my gosh, what are the pixel Ninja Turtles? I'm like, how many Ninja Turtle video games exist? They're pixelated. There's just going to be some kind of issue of Konami's specific artwork that I'm sure they can't completely copy, which makes a certain amount of sense. So, long and the short of it, it's just, if they make something, I'd be cool with it. Am I saying, yeah, make Archie HeroClix? No. No.
You're not going to go out of your ways to suggest it, but if it was something that did get made.
If it's something they made, I'd buy it. If they made Hello Kitty HeroClix, I'd buy them. If they made My Little Pony HeroClix, I'd buy them.
Okay, but My Little Pony HeroClix would be really cool. Think of
if they made My Little Pony Clix, I'd buy them. If they made Transformer Clix, I'd buy it. I just wouldn't. I don't care at this point. You know, I'm cool with whatever. I'm just, again, like Amber said, I'm not going to be the ones like, yeah, make Transformers, because Transformers is like basically unclickable.
Someone did make a fan set of it though.
You know, and Nathaniel mentions Lone Ranger. If that had more than 4 figures, that would be a lot cooler. But we got them. I got a full set of Lone Ranger. Come at me, bro.
He played Battle Royale with them. Was that first Canadian?
Not only did I play a Battle Royale, I won the Battle Royale and still walked out with a full set of Lone Ranger Clix. All 4 of them.
That was such a strange thing.
Well, the thing is, at that level of tournament, the first Canadian Nationals, they were a little bit more cool about trying to theme out their battle royales for the figures. You had to play DC sets to get DC characters. Excuse me. They said you got to use Lone Ranger if you want Jonah Hex, which was really cool. Eventually, they did realize that I was that one group that played the first 4 of us. That group was the last time they were able to pull that off. But it was, it was what it was. It was pretty cool. I am not a brony. I have 3 children and have to tolerate the show and its existence. So, what? This one here and my daughter, unending fans. I just happen to be in the room while the TV is on. I am not completely angry at the show.
I have some issues with the show, but
what do you mean you have some issues with the show?
There's a lot of like subtle misandry in the show. Like a lot.
I think you and me are seeing different things. But, just because they had to make 2 boy male characters have to be completely stupid.
No, it's like they have only have 1 male character that's somewhat competent, and then everybody else either like
Big Mac is the brains of that outfit. Don't you kid yourself. Yep.
I
don't know who these characters are.
I'm not gonna bore you guys with my like issues of why I think that My Little Pony has rampant misandry through it, but the comics are better because you actually have comic book writers writing them.
I don't know. I think you.
And no, I'm not actually actively collecting My Little Pony comics. That is a series that our daughter collects, and I read them to her. So.
It's a nice hill, Amber. You gonna die on it? I have absolutely 0 My Little Pony tattoos. I've got a Dr. Doom tattoo. I've got 1 tattoo, soon to be 2 by early July. We said.
I'd like that.
All right, well, we'll see how that happens. Because the second one's going to be Pac-Man, correct? Pac-Man, and you're going to have Ms. Pac-Man.
No, it's going to be both.
Oh, it's going to be both, right? Oh, yeah, the whole mew. You can't do that without that looking weird. With your hands. It looks better in 8-bit. How about that? One of the few things that looks better in 8-bit. Oh boy.
Well, I mean, when you're comparing 8-bit graphics to you making finger puppets, like, find me something that looks better as a finger puppet instead of 8-bit. That's the challenge.
What has happened to this hangout? This hangout used to be cool. People used to be on this show with us. Now we talk to a nameless patron Discord. We pray for super chats, and we wait for the one patron who does wish to grace us with his wonderful presence. In the meantime, we're stuck trying to talk to each other awkwardly in front of a camera. It's probably the high point of my month.
Finger puppets.
Okay, sorry, it's not the high point of this month. I have been playing God of War, and therefore been having a lot of fun with that. Or rather, Dad of Boy. Dad of War. Boy. Whatever. Oh, man, he gets so sassy in that game.
We hit a point where it's like, is he really this frustrating as a character, or is it because we're parents? And it's just like, how dare you talk back to your father like that?
Yeah, there's a couple times where I'm like, where's the punish child button? It's actually the least annoying kid side character in a game that of a kid that follows you around in the game.
It's actually like one of the best AI partners that I've seen in a long time.
Well, he's not really AI until at one point where he becomes belligerent, then he's AI. It's like, come on. We were talking about that today at work. It's kind of funny. New Smash Brothers is coming out. Nathaniel's talking about. Yeah, the Smash Brothers would be neat if we owned a Switch, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I really like the Wii U and 3DS version. I feel like we just haven't really delved deep into those. And then again, I'm looking at games on the PS2. It's like, you know what's a really good game that I've really got to finish is God Hand. How old is God Hand now? Like 12 years old?
If it's PS2, it could be anywhere towards 20 years
old.
old.
Well, it was at the end of the PS2 era. I know that. Yeah, no, I was right. 12 years old. It's 2006.
Huh. Actually, I just started up Code Veronica again the other day.
Yeah, but you started on a PS4.
Yeah.
See, I can only play that on the PS2, and if we still had it, my PS3.
Well, honestly, that's the only reason I got the Humble Bundle, because I'm like, I will pay $50. I don't care what else I'm getting. I am paying $15 so that I can play Code Veronica without digging out my GameCube.
Actually, you were ready to pay $12 for Code Veronica.
Yeah, you told me to.
And I was like, pay $15, get all the games. But what's the worst that can happen? We just have a lot of games.
Although there's like 4 games that we actually we got the license to, but can't do anything because 2 of them you have to actually do through a PS3, and then 2 of them are PS Vita games.
Okay.
But that also left us with 7 games for $15 when all I wanted was Code Veronica.
And one of them is Dead Rising 1.
Yes, which is just fantastic.
Probably one of the best zombie games ever made.
Yeah.
Come at me, bro.
I should play that again because we have a nice giant TV to play it on.
Yeah. I mean, we couldn't. I remember that being a problem. It's like when we had a tube TV, I can't read the text on this game. I am currently having that problem with God of War, though. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the text is so small. We're old.
No, I think our TV is old because I think that text is optimized for a 4K TV. Oh, tech talk mode.
Our poor 10-year-old TV.
Is it 10 years old? Oh my gosh, it is almost.
Almost. It's actually almost 9 years old because we got it when Alexis was a year old.
She wasn't a year yet when we got it.
Okay.
We didn't live for a whole year in that apartment before we got that TV in that old apartment.
That's true.
So we had her first birthday.
Yeah.
When we were at the next apartment.
I mean, even then, my TV upstairs is 7 years old now.
It's the same type of TV.
It's the same. It's just smaller.
HD,
yeah.
Not 4K Ultra HD.
Yeah. So it's like our tech is behind.
I do want to mount that TV on my wall and make it my computer monitor when we do upgrade.
That would be hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I went on a bus adventure today. I apparently took a lot of city transit today for a whole lot of no good reason. But when I got on the bus today, there was a guy riding the bus with like a giant computer desk. And it was just like the greatest thing ever. Like this guy's riding the bus like a boss. And like the best part about it was like, I actually want, it's like the exact style of computer desk that I want. I'm like, now I've seen it in person. Now I know like how big it's gonna be if I want it in my room.
That's it. You stop. Just stop.
Hard stop. I want that computer desk.
Pure professionalism
awesome.
on this channel. Nothing but just a little bit of dead air while I'm staring at the screen.
But that's the perfect time to have dead air.
Right? When I'm staring at a screen in front of the TV or in front of all of our fans.
Yeah.
So that's been video games, HeroClix. So what's channel update, Amber? Where do we stand for content on the horizon? I know you mentioned you'd updated some things, filmed some things, and whatnot. Where do we stand? Are we looking at when's our next top 10 list? Are we going to start working on that soon?
Sure. We need a top 10 topic to work on. Give me a script.
Why? I don't have the time to write that anymore.
Well, then we'll see when we get the next top 10.
Why don't you write the script and I'll say it? Do it in one take. Like a boss.
You can't read a script in one take.
Watch me.
We've tried that before.
You're right. Okay. I accept your premise. I don't like it, but I accept it. Oh, but it is the part that I don't need any tools for and I can do with my schedule. Because it just requires me sit in front and do the thing, not come up with ideas after spending all day coming up with ideas.
You don't come up with ideas at work. I don't know what your job is.
It is game design.
You're not the idea man.
I design things.
What are you talking about? You just play video games for a living.
I get told to do things, but I have to come up with ideas on how to do those things. I am an idea man. Oh boy. Oh boy, am I ever. We're just the worst today, Amber.
We're apologizing, like not even in advance. We're just apologizing.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we'll probably have to start rescheduling this to like Sunday nights or something like that. Oh, but Sunday's movie night. There's also wrestling night when wrestling events are on. I can't do Saturday because Saturday is my day. It's mine.
And
Monday's Metal Lab.
Metal Lab, so
if we can do Monday Patron Hangout, that means I can do the Metal Lab.
Yeah.
And I can't do the Metal Lab. So we can't do Monday Patrons. Do you see where this
is our dilemma, guys. Yeah. This is why we're doing it on Friday nights.
It's only once a month. Here. We'll do it on Sundays from now on. We'll just postpone on weekends where there's wrestling events. How does that sound?
Okay.
Sundays from now on. Ladies and gentlemen, other patrons. I think actually a couple of our patrons can't do this because we do it on Friday nights. So maybe Sunday nights is actually going to work a little better.
I think this is a conversation to have with our...
No, we're telling them. This is how this works. So this has got to work on our schedule.
Oh, goodness me.
Because let's not kid ourselves. This has not been great for the past couple months.
I appreciate everybody that has watched these, though.
Yeah, it's been good times while we do these things and awkwardly wait for people to show up on our channel and because they pay us for it. And I guess people that are paying us are content with the content that they get. Oh, we've already talked about the new set as far as what we know about the set. We haven't done a whole lot of research into it, but we also haven't had the figures in hand because that's our job for tomorrow. That's what we're doing tomorrow.
Have you talked about Canadian Nationals yet?
I mentioned that I haven't even come up with a team that I'm going to be comfortable making it, like spending a lot of time making the team. I probably don't even have to go up with a team and can start spending the entire weekend just building a team. Go ahead. What do you want to say about Canadian Nationals?
That it's happening. We do know. No, like, don't give me that. Like, we actually know. We know the dates. We know the location. We know the schedule. We know the prices. This is a big thing.
Don't get angry at me when you say, well, it's happening, and that's where you leave it. You pause and leave dead air. Dramatic effect for what? Well, it's happening. We know that, Amber, Canadian Nationals was happening regardless of whether or not we had a date. Was it ever really in doubt? But yeah, it's in Gatineau, Quebec, which is near Ottawa. I believe Hull is directly across from Ottawa, like across the street from Ottawa.
So there's like where this is located. There's like a river that's running through it, and there's 4 bridges that are actually the border of Ontario and Quebec, and it's on like the direct Quebec side of these bridges. So like it's literally across the river from Ontario.
From Ottawa specifically.
From Ottawa, yeah, Ottawa specifically. So we have a lot of people that we know in Ottawa that are just like, oh, we'll just cross the bridge for the day. Like,
there are for those places to stay, but I'm of the mind where if something like this is run at a hotel nearby or in the hotel that you can stay at, I would prefer to stay in that hotel because that's just awesome. I go downstairs to play HeroClix. I just show up in my pajamas and play in a battle royale, go back upstairs and go to bed. Like that's the kind of life I can live if I wanted to. I can find out if this hotel has a gym too. If it has a gym, I can work out.
I was actually thinking about that today because I was like, oh well, I'm like, I hope that this hotel has like a workout room because I don't want to screw up. I've finally been like sticking to my workout routine and it's starting to show and I'm happy with the progress that I've made and I don't want to throw that off by going away for a long weekend.
Yeah, we're starting to have that effect where we haven't seen some people for like a month and like, have you lost weight? Yeah, I've lost a small person. Yeah. I've lost a 5-year-old. It's I feel less sloppy. And my belt still kind of messes with my belt line still kind of messes with my stomach, but it's big steps.
I took a picture of my tattoo today, which I have in the middle of my back, and I was looking at it and I'm like, oh wait, like those aren't fat rolls. I'm like, that's my ribs sticking out. Like the back of my ribs and my spine because of the way that my back is shaped.
Mm-hmm. So I think we talked about this last month, but Amber is blocking view. That's my new video game chair. It's my exercise bike.
It's also why you guys caught me fresh out of the shower because I made sure that I did my workout before coming on to the Patron Hangout. So I literally just went into the shower, soaped up, and then came onto the...
I told you had time to rinse off. Soaping is too much.
But now I smell nice.
Fair enough. Fair point. I got nothing. I am it's the guy that runs the Metafix and is supposed to be responsible for the competitive play element. Last time I was at a HeroClix tournament was
we had a WKO in March.
April, I think I played some HeroClix. Maybe early April.
Did we play any HeroClix in April?
A little bit.
We played Magic. We played Magic in April.
Oh yeah, Dominaria was in April.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's still early. Hold on a second. Okay, what was the WKO? Was the end of March?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was my last tournament, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. All right then. So I'm a little behind on my HeroClix thing. I haven't even been keeping track of the Rock, to be brutally honest. It's pretty bad.
And things have been happening. There's constantly tournaments going.
Yep. I haven't been watching them. I have not. So.
I know Sam recently won a Super Cube with a Sam Cap team.
Congrats on her. Sam Cap is the Sam Cap teams are. They are. Yeah. You know what though? I'm also in that mindset already. It's just like lockdown, rotation only.
Yeah.
Right? Although I might have to recollect some Civil War stuff depending on what turns out to work. Oh boy, God, did I ever jump the gun on that.
Well, the thing was, it's like that's the first time that's ever really happened where we're like,
my prediction
was
way off.
Yeah, it's like, all right, here's rotation. Let's sell because we always sell off our old stuff before rotation actually happens. And it just happened to be that was one set where we were convinced that it was going to rotate and didn't rotate it.
I based my opinion on the Age of Ultron because Age of Ultron last year rotated for rotation, and now it is it's not rotating this time around. Anyway, as far as Canadian Nationals is concerned, a while back we did have a conversation with Alex, who used to run the event. He's still part of Carta Magica, but he's a little more hands off this time around. And the conversation we had with them amounted to a number of important elements. One of which was they are aware where their shortcomings have been. They're fully aware of where they've messed up. Things have not gone well. And things like that. They were transparent with us as to why these things happened. And they're looking to alleviate those issues, fix those problems going forward. So fingers crossed that they can stick to that. And fingers crossed that they can keep the event super exciting. Of course, timeline-wise, what do we have? The Battle Royales we have to expect are going to be Infinity War. That's just a given. It's going to be Infinity War and whatever. Harley Quinn and the Gotham Girls is the only other DC set that's out. So
maybe Ninja Turtles if it comes out in time, but that's
not even Battle Royale.
Gravity feeds are hard to do Battle Royales with.
They're damn near impossible to do Battle Royales with.
Yeah.
It's not, like that's.
I mean, they have been done in the past.
Well, I mean, that's how I was able to get my Jenna Hex.
That's how I got my Hulk and Red She-Hulk was Batman 66 Gravity Feed Battle Royale.
Yeah. So yeah, that is what it is. It's from what he's told us, they've really worked hard to make this a promising event. They've done their best to keep it off of a long weekend so that we don't have to balance, because the last couple of years has been on the May long weekend, which you're not going to get Canadians out to Canadian Nationals, Ontario people, especially out to Canadian Nationals for that, because they want to go to the cottage and drink. Yeah, I would want if I had a cottage, that's what I'd be doing.
For us, especially being in Canada, the May long weekend is our first real taste of summer. Basically, we know so many people that leave that weekend to go to the cottage.
Set up their cottages. A lot of times
they go to open their cottage, basically.
Because in Canada, when you have a cottage, you don't use it year round in a lot of cases. During the winter, you have to close it down, make sure your boats don't float away, make sure a bunch of things are taken care of, etc. So we we take the time in the May long weekend, one, to get really, really drunk, while at the same time being responsible adults and setting up our cottages for the summer. I've helped a few people do it, so I understand the process. It's a really fun weekend in spite of all the hard work, but you really feel like you earned the beer on those weekends, to say the least. And as well, because it was being moved to July, they were thinking of the Canada Day long weekend.
Now, probably a lot of the idea was that it's let's show how to celebrate Canada Day with the Canada Day long weekend, and in the nation's capital, there's going to be fireworks. It's fantastic.
And expensive hotel rooms and terrible traffic and impossible to move anywhere.
Yeah, and a lot of the downsides, the cons, just outweigh the pros. Also, on top of that, is that for anyone that's been paying attention, is that Canadian Nationals does draw a rather large American crowd. Anybody that lives along the bordering states likes to come up for the Canadian Nationals, and because of that, or as a result of that, the last 4 years have been won by Americans instead of Canadians. But having it on, say, the Canada Day weekend, that's 3 days away from your guys' Independence Day. So who knows how many Americans would have actually come up if that is their holiday that weekend too. So
so Nathaniel wants to know when the next Super Lexi is coming out.
Oh gosh, whenever I have time to actually sit down and play with my kid.
Do that.
I know, I need to.
Just do it.
Just do it.
We'll start filming those next week. How's that sound?
Yeah.
There we go.
I know I've been promising it for a while. And I got everything that I need to start teaching her powers.
Cool.
But yeah, anyways, so it all boiled down to this conversation was very good in the long run, and we hope that a lot of good things come out of it, and we're really, really hoping that this is a good event. We did get a lot of people asking, it's oh, well, why in Quebec, and why are these guys running? It's these guys have been running it for 5 years. This is who WizKids contacts in Canada.
Yep.
This is their go-to in Canada. we kind of just accepted that these are who run the event.
They're one of the bigger runners of Pokemon tournaments, the bigger runners of Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. They don't run a lot of the major Magic tournaments, but that's all Channel Fireball nowadays anyway. So, like, these guys know how to run events, and the only other ones I could think that could possibly rival them in Canada would be 401 Games. But this is a relationship that's built over a long period of time, and these guys have actually gone out of the way and spoken with WizKids, sat with WizKids, gone to events with WizKids guys, and actually kind of done the legwork, to say the least. So,
and talking to Alex about it, like, as a business owner, he has been willing to invest in this, whereas I don't have specific numbers, but it has been thousands of dollars investment in each nationals. And I know that other places that were vying for wanting to be running nationals, I don't believe they're willing to sink like $10,000 into running a Canadian nationals. And then in Quebec, Quebec or Ottawa, that's where he owns 2 stores. So, like, those where it's his home base, basically. It makes sense for him to be running close to home, so he doesn't have to travel with all of his stuff.
And the 2 places that he wants to run, like Quebec and Ottawa, compare that to Toronto. He can run 2 events in Quebec and Ottawa for the price it would cost him to run 1 in Toronto. Like, last year, he ran it cheap in a Legion, and it showed. It showed in Toronto. I have nothing wrong with the Royal Canadian Legion. They do a fantastic job of what they do. But my gosh, was it ever just pulled together at the last second. It was so let them run it this year. And I'm hoping that this is like a bang on year, to say the least. But with that, we've been bothering you with our floating heads and complaining about how none of our patrons have showed up for the show. And we've rambled our way through Michael's entrance. Michael, the alpha patron so far. How you doing, Mike?
Live long and prosper. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Live long and prosper. I don't know what else is going on this weekend, but just want to let you guys know. So, of course, you know that I come prepared.
Since when?
Alrighty, let's go. We'll first start with. Okay, let's start out with everybody must be talking about the new set that's coming out in a couple weeks, and I've seen some of the previews and looked at all the like kind of keep track on all the things coming on HC Realms and such. So I would like to know with all the. In your opinion, do you think there are going to be a lot of cosmic team abilities in this set, or how do you think that would break down? And once I get to my sealed match like that, okay, let me just follow it up with another question after that. And I just so the first question is, what do you think of, or what's your best guesstimate of just how many cosmic TAs will we see in the set?
I think I counted 4 from the previews I've seen, or the spoilers I've seen so far. Adam Warlock and Kismet both have it. I think the Eternity has it. I might be wrong on that one. And I think one more of the Colossals, and I want to say the Stranger has it. And then there's bound to be a few more that I have missed, because honestly, I did a cursory speed reading at best, and there's probably going to be special abilities that give the team ability. That's bound to happen as well. So I would expect the Power Cosmic to exist, but don't get too worried about it, because it's a set in which the Power Cosmic exists. I haven't seen a ton about Wit come out of the set either. So, yeah, Amber, did I miss any?
I'm not sure if you missed any, but I do feel like this is actually going to have less than you think it would, and that characters that you're like, maybe you should have the Power Cosmic team ability will just have the Cosmic keyword.
Do the Chasers have them?
Yeah, I brought it up here. Like Thor has one, Moondragon has one, Tigra has one.
The Chases have them.
Yeah, the Chase. Yeah, like at Ego Prime, which is a rare. Look at it.
Yeah.
That's that's the ones that are have been preliminary made on here. So like that. So I was just wanting to because it's such a difficult and frustrating TA when you're playing against it. Considering you can't really modify any of the thing, you can't outwit or bring their stats up and down.
Well,
so that
stats. Their stats can be affected all you want. Power Cosmic only protects you from outwit and gives them willpower.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Perhaps did they change that, or have I been assuming playing it wrong all this time?
Might be playing around it incorrectly. I've done that where I was like, oh wait, that doesn't do that. Oh, okay. Well, I'm just.
Yeah, the only thing that I can recall off the top of my head that stopped you from being able to modify combat values was the KC guys.
Yeah, Kingdom Come guys, and they had a trait that did that, not their team ability.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think you might actually we'll see it in the chases, we'll see it in a few figures, but for like a set that was basically like a cosmic set, don't think you'll see it on it's not going to be on everybody. But then, as Jason was saying, we haven't really seen a whole lot of outwit either. So when it comes down to playing the sealed, it's outwit is a great thing to have while you're playing sealed, but it's not something you can count on being able to pull unless it's a set that has a ridiculous amount of outwit on it or in it, rather.
I mean, the only notable outwit I can remember is Groot, who gives your opponent outwit so that you can get 2 wood tree things. It's neat, and it also on that character alone, it doesn't threaten him particularly. So, yeah, that's one of those things. Power Cosmic is a scary team ability, but it's not at the same time, because if you're relying on outwit, well, you relied on outwit. You've already cost yourself enough. But at the same time, it doesn't. It just adds willpower and stops outwit. You're still free to perplex and push your way through it, and just it ends up you just have to brute force your way through the team ability for the most part. And the character still does have to have a dial, and you have to get through that dial. I think that's the only big thing about it. Psychic Blast still works. Pulse Wave still works. All the wonders still work.
Oh, Pulse Wave.
The grand I wouldn't say equalizer. The grand misbalancer.
The nullifier.
The ultimate nullifier. That's what it was. All right.
Next question.
Alrighty. So yeah, then it got me thinking that will this actually bring to the forefront more teams with the Batman God of Knowledge thing like that, who can outwit TAs and things like that. So especially like the Cosmic TA like that. So is that going to be more meta or anything like that?
I have to double check that one. I'm on screen checking it right now, but I do believe that the God of Knowledge still uses outwit, and as a result, you can't get rid of the Power Cosmic because you have to outwit the Power Cosmic. And Power Cosmic gives you protected outwit. But
yeah, that sounds right. Because that was the problem with Batman God of Knowledge versus Unimind, right?
Yes. Check it out now. Yeah.
He's checking the win right now.
Alrighty.
Yeah, okay. Of course, they didn't answer the question because by our TFC rules, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Let me just, I should double check God of Knowledge just to make sure he does specifically say outwit. Because if that's the wording he uses, that's the problem we run into. Batman. Outwit, when Batman got a revealed wire, he uses it. Instead of choosing one power, you may choose 2 powers or 1 team ability. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still outwit.
Still outwit, therefore he's protected outwit, therefore can't get rid of the team ability.
And
okay.
feel like that's one of those figures where it's like we have this great idea for a figure. This is what we want this figure to do. It's like, guys, that doesn't work in the rules. No, trust me. This is what we want this figure to do. It's like, all right, fine, put it to print, but they're gonna find out that's not how the rules work. Then they're gonna be mad at you.
No. Design doesn't talk to the rules too. just witness rulings, and you'll find out that doesn't happen.
Like, I understand the intent is this, but rule says no.
I feel like that's the conversation that gets had after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're wrong, and I'm the rules guy, and I'm going to say you're wrong.
Just imagine times where they're just like, they get a ruling or like a question, and they look at like wait a second. They look at the rule book. They look at the new cards, like, who made this figure?
This character is a walking contradiction.
Next question.
Yeah. Alrighty. Yeah, and then I also started thinking about like other pieces that I would be probably seeing played against in the near future, and the Lockjaw for the I guess the Lockjaw prize and everything. I'm sure I'm going to be playing. Mm-hmm. All right. So I would like to know, this is a rules question. When Lockjaw rolls his D6, can that be re-rolled? And if so, is it success? That's such a hard word for me to say. Acceptable. Acceptable. Yeah. There we go. Is that can be re-rolled, and can I play Mixie or any the one other guy from the Star Trek set that does another Mixie trick where you can replace dice and stuff like that? So
okay, so Mr. Mixie Pitlick right now, as long as Puppy says can't be or doesn't say can't be re-rolled until the eventual rotation, which is when they stop caring about Mr. Mixie Pitlick. That will be the only way to do that, because Trelane very specifically says attack rolls, and probability control is attack rolls or breakaway rolls. It's wonderful that I can just say, is it an attack roll or breakaway roll? No, then you can't prob it. Is it an attack roll? Then you can Trelane it.
Yeah, they with the streamlining of the rules over the last summer. They really wanted to cut down on basically questions like this, where they're like, okay, we get to roll a die. Let's make sure that we can only affect like 10% of the dice rolls in this game. So it's like prob went down from being any dice roll that was on your turn to just being like, yeah, no, just attacks and breakaways. That's the only thing we need to affect here. Anything else that rolls a die, we just don't care about. So unless Lockjaw says no, you can't re-roll it. You can, but you have to be very specific about how you do it, because there are very few things left in the game that allow you to re-roll things.
And it, like Mr. Mix's Pitlick and maybe the Guardians of the Galaxy Rocket Raccoon Super Rare from back in the day are the only two that can affect a roll that isn't an attack or a breakaway.
Are you still looking up to see if Lockjaw is?
Lockjaw is re-rollable.
Okay.
But now I'm checking to see if Mr. Mix's Pitlick has been errated. Because that's a thing that could very well happen too.
Very true.
Because there's been, but I doubt it, because he's not going to be here long enough.
No.
Yeah, he hasn't been errated yet. So.
Well, he's about to rotate anyway, so.
That's why they don't care.
He's got like this? Oh my gosh, rotation's coming up fast.
Yeah, it's May.
He's got like 3 weeks left.
Yeah, I do kind of like this June rotation, and then we get the plan for July for Canadian Nationals, and then way down the line is the culmination of the year and Worlds.
I do like that they decided to have all nationals, like all major tournaments, after rotation, or we don't have to worry about this like weird half rotation thing where it's like, all right, well, like last year Canadian Nationals was before rotation, whereas American Nationals was after rotation. Yeah,
and Canadian Nationals was everything, and then Worlds was just less.
Yeah.
Because I don't think between Canadian Nationals last year and Worlds, did anything new come out?
No, because Avengers Defenders War was out.
The last set.
Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah. So, Mr. Mixie and Rocket Raccoon are the only ones left that can even affect that role, and Rocket Raccoon is already Golden Age. Mr. Mixie is about to go Golden.
Alrighty, so I guess I should start thinking about how I'm gonna. I anticipate playing against Lockjaw and round in my area and different different communities and stuff like that. So I'm trying to think of ways how I can, because unfortunately I did not win one at that open like that. So gonna probably play against one sometime soon. Okay, the next question I had is who do you think, or who have you seen used most often as a taxi in the metagame that's not named Overdrive?
Kite Man.
Kite Man, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Kite Man and the Green Lantern from Elseworlds. I've seen them both used. The Green Lantern from Elseworlds, too. I've seen it used with Samcap. The potential on that is insanity because Samcap you get to use right off of the bat. And then there might be someone else you can possibly use after as well. That is insanity on a stick.
Oh, he's the one that has that rule where it's like when you
if you roll a 5 or 6, one of the guys can make an action. Actually, I think it's a 5, one guy can make an action, and 6, all of them can make an action.
Yeah, something
it's
like that.
So insane. It's a thing of beauty. Although teams like that, I saw Edward Shelton pull something off at Rocktober where he used Enchantress to just mess up those formations. I was like, that's brilliant.
Right, because she has the power that just lets you
everybody move one square.
Yes. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, our teammate Emily, she's working on a team for after rotation where she's using Kite Man instead of Overdrive.
Yeah, because then you can kind of split the rotation of movements, and if they can't get both Kite Men, you're gonna have to deal with at least one of the attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Makes a lot of sense. It's some pretty solid strategizing. Sorry, Emily. Secret Tech is out. We're bad like that. We're terrible. We're terrible people.
Don't tell us things. We'll tell the internet.
Sorry. Apologies. All right. Next up.
Alrighty, so we're really breezing through these here tonight. All right, so
today.
I swear we're trying to tangent.
We'll be right back. Keep going.
Alrighty. So a couple weeks ago, I played in a battle royale. It was an event that was low attended like that. So it was just 3 of us playing, and it was like, and I had brought my Gen X team 300 points, and I think what they intended Gen X to do was be like a swarm type of thing where they're all moving 5 and making an attack. So what I'm looking from this question is that should I be playing Gen X or stay away from Gen X in a battle royale where I would pretty much have to or at least my strategy divides some of my team over in this direction and some of my team over in this direction, because I don't want to get surrounded by other players and stuff like that. I kind of like when I attack, I put these guys this way and those guys that way, and then when I notice that when I'm playing a Gen X team like that, they're more effective as a swarm type of thing. They move up to 5 spaces, and then so what do you think I should do with is it a practical battle royale?
Actually, in the game of HeroClix in general, I've played. Okay, I'm going to qualify this before I go into it. HeroClix is not the first miniature strategy game I've ever played in my life. The first one was Warhammer and Warhammer 40K. And then I played a little bit of Mage Knight, and I played a little bit of Mech Warrior, and then I played HeroClix. And HeroClix has one unique factor, and it is It is the only strategy game that doesn't let you divide. You cannot divide yourself and be able to conquer. You cannot flank. You cannot just pick off people. You do not have the tools for it. And part of that is there is a level of balance that they've actually managed to accomplish. So sticking together as a team is not unsafe, to say the least. And it only becomes a hassle when you have to deal with things like energy explosion or big group tactics. But even then, you stay within a couple squares of each other to allow for easier counterattack, counterplay, et cetera, because of the grid system, because of the way figures set up and whatnot. You kind of get into this situation where it's best to kind of stick close so that you can punish your opponent for getting in there, because you kind of get stopped on the way, as it were. So it's my observation. Amber, do you want to?
I definitely understand the mentality of, if you are in a battle royale, to be like, okay, well, I don't want to get hit on both sides, so let's kind of counter that. But the good thing with the Gen X guys is that they do kind of give that extra aggressiveness with being able to move and then attack, which if you're like basically on a square map where you're each coming from a corner, being able to aggressively go against one side makes it easier to kind of protect yourself from getting hit from the backside, because if you can outmaneuver someone and come aggressively onto one corner, then the guy on the other side of you has to take longer to get to you, and it might find that it's easier to go after the other corner of someone or come across and get both of you. A lot of that comes down to just reading the map and the other teams and figuring out what is more beneficial for you at the time in that setup. Because especially if you're using like the Wiz Kids Battle Royale maps, those are like, they're very
Force engagement. Yes. Definitely force engagement.
That's exactly, like, I know what I want to say and it's not coming out. They do very much force which way you're going to move on those maps.
Click.
Alrighty. Another guy that I was thinking of that I haven't used yet, and I thought, oh, okay, he might be, fun to, use, and I want to get your opinion on. Has anyone played with their gold balls?
Every night. Oh, you meant the figure. I played him and he worked once.
Mm-hmm.
And I still didn't win that game.
I played against him at the WKO, and he didn't do anything.
He's a figure that if you can build around him and make him work, he's probably going to do fine. But you got to get that far and build around him and make him work to a certain degree. And I don't mean build a team and say gold balls is my team, and if I lose gold balls, I lose. You should be punished terribly with a big stick or a tree that fell out of the ground in the nasty wind we had here in Mississauga. But he's also one of those characters. It's like the high defense team. If they can roll the dice, they can hit. I don't care how hard it is. Wow. Just we're talking about gold balls and how hard it is to hit. I don't think we can carry on much longer.
This question has so much potential.
Oh, there's so much playing potential. But yeah, he's a cool character. He's very difficult to manage effectively, to say the least. You've really got to handle your gold balls well if you're going to make them work. And once you have a real handle on them, you can really go to town on them. Like a good strategy with them is a real mouthful.
Yeah. So how do I make these gold balls shine?
Well, you polish them.
Yeah.
Woo! God, I've been waiting to do that for months. That came out in February, and I haven't been able to go off like that.
Oh my.
Oh my, indeed.
Alrighty.
Is that what you were looking for, by the way?
Yeah. That was pretty much like that. So
Okay, cool.
all right, I was thinking about maybe making a team with him in it like that. So I wanted to find out from other people that might have experience with him, and just what can I? Because sometimes even when I just build like a bunch of what I call like rando commandos, and like, okay, this is my team this week, like, and I know it's probably going to be a casual setup like that. So I just want to put them, see what they do and stuff like that. Pieces that I haven't played ever like that. So I just put them together and like, okay, see what happens. And then so I was thinking, okay, well, I haven't played Gold Ball, so maybe I can work him onto a team.
If you're running Gold Balls, don't go Commando. I had to throw one more in.
No. No. You're welcome.
You lucky ass.
Alrighty, so the last one, at least here on the list, is it's a non-HeroClix question, but I was just wondering, what is your favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe villain? Or if it can also include a like either from the Sony or Paramount or other movies, not within the Disney MCU.
Okay. Barring the fact that we have yet to see Infinity War, we're going to be seeing it tomorrow.
How have you avoided the spoilers so far? I thought 3 days was okay. Here's an even better question. Like that, it was driving me nuts that I couldn't check the my social media all this past weekend until I saw it this past Sunday afternoon. Like I thought for sure somebody was going to spoil it for me. But how have you lasted this long without getting spoiled for that?
Oh, work has me real busy.
Really good at ignoring people.
The thing is being able to spot potential spoilers.
The art of scrolling past something that looks
look,
potentially
Thanos'
spoilery.
face, I'm out. And then it's also defining what's really a spoiler. I mean, we kind of knew certain things should be expected to happen, knowing that there's at least another part dealing with Thanos as far as movies are concerned. I mean, this is going to end up in some way, shape, or form in a certain matter that, for those of you who've seen it, you know how it goes. And if you haven't seen it and you're thinking, wait, there's 2 movies definitely with Thanos, well, then how can this one possibly end? But you know now. You kind of know. And you're not really shocked by it.
I'm enjoying the, memes out of context spoilers.
Those have been great.
Here's a picture of Squidward. Okay, now I'm just curious to what the hell that relates to.
Yeah.
Or like you and your friend after watching Infinity War, and it's just Rick and Morty, that scene
where they're crying. Oh my God! I had no control over that situation. We've anyway. That said, since you're including Sony, Fox, etc., the Green Goblin as played by Willem Dafoe.
That was really good.
He was so bang on, and anybody who's got a problem with that Green Goblin, fight me. Fight me, and we'll meet again, Spider-Man.
You know what? When it comes down to it, the casting for that movie was just really gotta give Sam Raimi and crew credit, because the casting is just really good.
They don't get all my credit. They don't get credit for Tobey Maguire, and they don't get credit for Kirsten Dunst. They do get credit for Willem Dafoe. They do get credit for J. Jonah Jameson with J.K. Simmons. That's all the credit I'm giving. I've got my problems with that series. It was an enjoyable movie, don't get me wrong, but I'm not a fan of Maguire.
I just find that he played a really good Peter Parker.
I don't think he played that good
in the suit or whatever, but I think he did good as the nerdy kid that everybody wants to punch in the face.
I think Holland did a better job at that.
Well, true.
Yeah, Holland's more age appropriate. Like he's like a lot closer in the age that he wants to, wants to put the character in. Like I think who wants to watch, some, smaller, nerdy guy, like 30-year-old playing, a 15, 16-year-old.
That's true. That did come from like we're starting to get a little bit better, but that was definitely the era of like we're going to have 30-year-olds playing 16-year-olds.
Yeah. What was he? Sorry, what was your favorite?
Hela.
That was a really good villain.
And the thing is, why I love her so much is because like she's just like everybody's like, oh well, Loki, that's the villain that you kind of root for. I'm like, fuck Loki, Hela is the villain that you like. Like I just don't like. I was watching that movie and I'm like, I was rooting for the villain in that movie. She was just so awesome. Mm-hmm. I have a Hela sweater.
Yeah.
She's riding Fenrir.
That Hela sweater's hella good.
It's fantastic. She's riding Fenrir and it's done up like an 80s poster. Fantastic.
80s metal album.
Yep.
It's kind of like this color grading.
Yeah.
It's super early to think about, but I bet you that's probably going to be a Halloween costume or something, or heck, even a cosplay costume like with that the big headdress she has with the the pointy like headdress armor like that is.
Yeah, they also set it up for the less crazy crafty ones without like they have
with her just in the
both.
Hair. Yeah.
So they were very generous to the cosplayers in that sense.
Where she just kind of has like a sexy cat suit and makeup.
But not Michelle Pfeiffer cat suit.
No, nothing really beats Michelle Pfeiffer's cat suit.
I mean, okay.
Sorry, you're gonna.
Yeah. Anyone else like that's where going on to the I've seen I watched the trailer for Ant-Man and Wasp, and I think I found a flaw in their logic on this whole thing. Like when they the Pym particles, they established that they put like they can maintain the same mass or the. How do I explain it? I'm trying to get scientific here, like that. But did you so when the Ant-Man can punch at full strength, even when he's tiny, like and then when they're but yet Hank was able to disguise a real tank into his keychain, and he can shrink an entire building and just wheeled it away like luggage, like that. But yet in their established continuity, like that, he should not have been able to put a tank into his pocket when that even though it looks like a little small keychain, it should still weigh like a 1,500-pound tank.
Actually, like I think the way they explain that is that you're still going forward the same force, just with less mass. Because at the same time, a lot of people carry Ant-Man on their shoulder. And have you ever carried a 200-pound person on your shoulder?
No. Okay. Well, there was one time at a concert like that, and she wanted to see up high like that.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, for a prolonged period of time, you're eventually going to get tired and worn out very quickly by carrying a person on your shoulder. And Ant-Man's all over people, all over the place in that movie. But in the grand scale of it, I think they're trying to use some form of like the ant and the proportional strength in that sense, but also some degree of inertia and force. Honestly, they're playing fast and loose with science at best. Let's not beyond a shadow of a doubt. That's definitely something they're doing, is playing fast and loose. But they also, to explain how he moved forward in that manner, he's using the inertia and the force used to move a 200-pound person. But then when you shrink that, that's less mass, but the same force and inertia moving forward at that person. So that's how they can actually get across the room, as opposed to just kind of going when they go tiny, right? So, again, there's probably
flawed science.
There's a lot of flawed science. I'd have to sit down with physics calculations to do it myself. I have a rudimentary understanding of physics in order to get me into video games. Forward momentum, motion, torque, that kind of stuff. But comic book science, like when it gets to that, you're getting weird stuff that I might not fully have understood yet. So, but yeah, I see where you're getting at. It's like, how does this all work? If Ant-Man can punch somebody at a tiny size with the full force of a punch, but Hank Pym can carry a tank, how does that all make sense? I understand what you're saying. I'm also devil's advocating when I try to use my attempt at Marvel science, because we're also talking about the science of a man who can turn into a gigantic muscular green thing, clap, and send out a sonic boom. So,
well, that's easy. Hulk is the strongest there is. Period. That's how you explain that away. Hulk is the strongest there is.
Well, there's explanations for everything. Whether the explanation makes sense,
yeah,
a whole different story.
All right.
That was pretty much it. That's all I had for this week.
Right.
Thank you very much for allowing me to be a part of this show every month. Still keeping the streak alive. I haven't missed one yet.
The only 100%er so far. No, I think you missed one. Nope. Did he? No. Never mind. I'm gonna shut up now. We're probably gonna move from this. How does Sunday work for you, Mike?
Sunday works a lot better. I don't work as much on Sundays.
We're probably gonna start doing the first Sunday of the month then.
Okay.
To work with other patrons who might be able to show up on weekends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On that note, I do want to thank Mike and thank our other patrons on the Patron Discord for joining us today on the Patron Hangout. If you want to be a part of this and get your questions answered by us once a month, and we're probably going to be moving to the first Sunday of the month, as we just said, check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Any support kind of helps. Any support gets you part of this. $5 a month gets you access to our episodes early. $10 a month gets you access to our episodes early, part of this. And you also get a neat little action token from us made by Big Bully Games. And we send those out bi-monthly, so you get 2 every 2 months in that case. So that said, thank Mike. Thank you guys on the Discord. If you guys are watching live and if you would throw in a super chat at some point on a future episode, your question will get answered. We just don't directly answer the questions in the chat that aren't from our patrons, or I can't recognize you as a patron. If you are a patron in our chat, by all means, identify yourself so that I can catch you. Because
if we missed anybody in the actual chat that is a patron, we apologize, and we were not aware that you were a patron.
Yeah, we didn't know you were a patron. Sorry, guys. But that said, have a wonderful evening, everybody. See you guys next month for Patron Hangout. See you guys throughout the week on future episodes of Married with Clicks. Just as a heads up, Jay wanted to let me know, and I'm going to let you guys know. He's moving the day to the Metal Lab this week. I believe he's going to move it to Tuesday to match up with a pre-release that he's going to be attending. So what better to get more value information with some actual experience in playing some pre-release content. So with that said, have a good night, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us, and see you guys next month.